Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the PromoMinds Podcast interview series. We've been taking a look at swimming pool contractors and landscapers from all across Canada. And today we have a couple individuals from the Winnipeg, Manitoba region, and they have a combined years experience of 16 years in the pool and hardscape industries. They're both very family oriented, which I think is quite hard to do, especially in the contracting world. So I think we'll talk a little bit about that to find out, how they keep a work-life balance in check. And that what goes along with that, I think, is the fact that they pride themselves in customer service. And we'll get into some stories with that as well. So please welcome to the stage Erik and Mike from Riverside Pools. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Good, you?
Doing really well. I really appreciate the backdrop you guys have going on. Hoping for sunny and warm days out in the Winnipeg area. So just to kick off, I was wondering if you guys could share a little bit about the backstory on how Riverside Pools came to be and how you guys actually met up.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, we actually met working for one of the bigger box stores in Winnipeg, one of the big box pool stores. We met there. Erik left, was it about 10 years ago?
Roughly
about 10 years ago to start his own venture. I stuck around. And then roughly 2.5 years ago, she got tired of the hustle and bustle of the big box store pool industry. So decided to do something a little smaller with Erik. We had still kept in touch and worked together over the years after he had left. And just decided to do something a little smaller, more customer focused, as opposed to just customers being a number.
Yeah, I gotcha. With what you guys have going on now, have you found that you can, because you're not getting all the chaos of so many people, do you find that you're able to build better relationships with your customers?
Oh, for sure. We're on a first name basis with all of our customers. They've all got our personal cell numbers. I mean, we've got a set of customers that joins us for a Christmas party every year.
Nice. So what do you guys like to do to help build that relationship or curate that relationship?
Well, it's a lot of just customer service right from the start, and we help the clients from every angle that we possibly can in the design phase, and personal meetings at their place, and just constant communication with them to build that relationship, build that rapport, and then the ongoing service afterwards that keeps that relationship going. So
Absolutely.
And as well too, it's we offer them not just the pool; it's the entire backyard. Where we'll come in, we'll do the landscaping, we'll arrange the fence guys, the deck guys, as opposed to other stores where they'll put in the pool and it's up to the customer to figure the rest out.
Yeah. No, that's huge, because anyone who's worked with any sort of contractors, it's trying to schedule things and line things up can be like a job in amongst itself. So I think that's really cool. Would you say that your clients usually come from just referral, word of mouth, or like how does that funnel kind of look for you guys?
there's a lot of word of mouth, especially in Winnipeg here. Then seems like every fourth person knows someone that or something along those lines. So having the good customer relations is key, especially in it's a smaller city compared to a few across Canada for sure. So having that good customer rapport gets us that word of mouth and gets our name out there really well. So
Right on. Makes sense. Now, one of the things, Erik, you and I were talking about a little bit on the phone was that in 2022, there seemed to be a lot of, I call them horror stories of people that had bad experiences with these companies that they came into the industry during the chaos of the pandemic and, saw a money-making opportunity, and they either didn't know what they were doing or they were just in it to take as much money as they could without providing any work. And so I'm wondering, was there a couple stories that maybe you guys want to touch on or share? Because I think it speaks highly to you guys for, going out and being able to assist them with kind of making things right for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Where do we start?
there's a lot of drama in the pool industry around Winnipeg, it seems at times. So everybody knows everybody, and everybody's at some point kind of worked with each other. So it keeps the community fairly small, which you would hope would keep people honest as well, which unfortunately isn't the case. So there have been a few instances that customers and subcontractors and all sorts of people have been left out to dry basically by some of these companies. So myself included with our other company that we started before the pools, then we've been involved in the pool industry and building pools for a long time, and that's what kicked Mike and I's conversations about starting this into high gear, if you will. Then we started discussing. We saw what was happening in the industry. A lot of companies changing hands, some companies going under, all that sort of stuff kind of combined. And Mike and I in our conversations decided, what, we can provide the proper experience for our clients, and provide that service that the industry is lacking really in this area right now. So it's worked out really well, and there's been a few other friends of ours and things like that too, and acquaintances that we've worked with over the years who have kind of saw the same thing, and now they're competitors, but we all work closely together as it is. So it's really nice with the tight-knit group of honest people in the industry here anyways. So
Yeah, that's good that you can develop those relationships within the industry as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, Mike, Erik, I know you come from more of the concrete hardscape areas. Like, you have the harder concrete business, and I mean, we were joking on the phone the other day how, with your last name being Harder, it's almost like you were destined to do that. And so I'm curious, Mike, you said that you had also worked for this big box store, and I'm just wondering would you say you have like a specialty when it comes to the pool industry, or like, is there anything specific that maybe you would take on over Erik, or what might that be?
Well, over Erik, I'd say like my knowledge of suppliers. I started in the pool industry roughly about 16, 17 years ago as a grunt making $10 an hour, the shovel and a wheelbarrow, and I worked my way up to the general manager of the store. So I got to see every aspect of the industry, from being the shoveler and the wheeler to lead hand to managing the entire store. So I find that gives me a leg up on some people just because I've got that broad range of experience. Um, and being that I had that broad range, it really showed me that I didn't want to be stuck in an office anymore, that I wanted to be outside with the boys and building again. Just the office wasn't really the greatest thing.
Yeah.
we complement each other really nicely in that sort of aspect. And I've been doing a lot of the design work for years and years and years now. So the fact that Mike has all the back end stuff and the construction knowledge, as we both do, and we complement each other really nicely in our roles here. So
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And like you said, Mike, to be able to go from, pushing a wheelbarrow all the way up to managing the store, you've seen all areas of the business. So that's amazing. And I couldn't agree more with the fact that, if all I did was sit behind a desk all day, I would go crazy. So yeah, definitely feeling you on that one. So I'm curious, what do you guys enjoy about the industry, whether it's with pools, with the hardscaping, with customers? Is there anything specific that, if you could do one or two things kind of at least once or twice a day, what would it be?
Well, I think the one thing I enjoy the most about the industry is that we provide fun for our customer, for our clients, not only through the design aspect and the building and all that, but decades of fun after the fact. That really hits home for me, is we're providing a safe space for families to spend time together as opposed to being on devices or whatever it is. And one thing I found a very good selling point for a pool is, especially for families, is you always know where your kids are, because that's where all the neighborhood kids want to hang out, is in your backyard. So you've got more of a control about the family aspect and knowing what your kids are doing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What about you, Erik?
Yeah, I would have to say, it's mostly the customer experience and seeing the smiles on our clients' face as well. It's right from the start too. It's exciting from the start being in the leisure industry, because it's they're anticipating, they're excited. It's an exciting process to design, and then going into the construction, digging the hole, the seeing the youngsters in the yard with our equipment and stuff like that, and the big smiles on their faces. And then that's just when it's all getting started. And then the first time they get to swim in their pool, it's that feedback, and seeing the happiness that we can help create for our clients is the biggest part. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Would you say that, just judging by both your answers here, you had mentioned that you guys are both very family oriented, and it seems like an extension of that, not just your immediate family, but looking at your customers from a family perspective. I think that's. Would you say that that's kind of your approach with things, or how do you? I guess what am I trying to say here? I guess I'm just trying to point out the fact that you're because you're family oriented. It really shows not just how you maybe approach your actual family, but your clients too. So I guess with that, one of the things that came to mind when you had mentioned, you guys are both very family oriented, was the fact that in the contractor space in general, I find a lot of people find it hard, especially during the busy season, where they have that work life balance, or to be able to attend your kids' sports games or activities or things like that. So how do you guys manage to stay present with your family while also present with your business?
Well, I think I would start out by saying that, it's like Mike mentioned earlier, with the larger outfits, then, clients are more of a number. So for us, then we are, customer driven, and that's why we started this. And, we each have our own families as well. And it's definitely not easy, especially in busy season, like you mentioned. But, that's why teaming up and having a partnership, so we can have each other's backs. If we got, Mike has a weekend with his family away, or I've got a weekend, then we can back each other up, prep our schedule for it, and move on from there, and help each other out as much as possible. Being more of a lone wolf prior to this, and with harder concrete, it definitely was an extreme challenge to. I definitely took on way too much myself, and made me realize that you need the right team with you to be able to both be successful in your family life as well as your work life. So
And the one nice thing with me too, it's I started the industry before I met my wife. So this is the only life she's ever known. It's the only life my son has ever known. So yeah, we're a lot busier in the summer, but we do make up for it in the winter, where we are a lot slower, so we can spend days on end with our family, to the point where they want us to get back to work.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I think that's really good. And I was talking to a guy last week or 2 weeks ago, and he said, because he's very system oriented, or like systematized, he said that he has an app in his phone where he makes sure to schedule that allotted time, so that he makes sure that he's spending time with his wife, spending time with his kids, and then it's just kind of automatic. So it's interesting to hear how people approach the family side of thing, because you know it's it's so important to be able to maintain those relationships with your family. So I think that's really cool.
And I think one thing that helps us too is like we've got a shared Google Calendar too. So if ever Eric's got anything scheduled, it always pops up on my phone first thing in the morning, and vice versa as well. So it helps us being very aware of what our personal lives are as well.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So moving forward, I'm curious, what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
What's your favorite, Mike?
I think our favorite's coming up this spring.
We have some nice projects sold for this spring that we've been spending all winter designing, and we're pretty excited and anxious, and our clients are very excited. So our first three projects of the year are all big ones, which is really nice and going to be very intricate with the design process and everything like that as well, and coming into construction. So that'll be really nice. But I mean, we had few projects last year too, where we had, on the harder concrete side and through Riverside, and we do pool houses and kind of offer a little bit of everything. So it's really nice on those projects because you really get to know the family really well throughout that in the design process, and then all the little changes that can be made throughout that process. So we've had a lot of really nice projects already, and looking forward to the future and the ones we have coming up too. So.
Yeah, I think my favorite one this year would have probably been the one on Lamont there.
Yeah.
Where unfortunately they fell into the trap of a pool company claiming bankruptcy, and they did lose some money. But for us to be able to get in there and finally bring their vision to life was a good feeling.
That's amazing. Hey guys, if you're into hiking at all, I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube page, Steve Leslie Hikes. That's Steve Leslie Hikes on YouTube. I have a lot of content on there from some of the crazy hikes that I've been on, including Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. And it'd be really cool to connect on there. So please check me out. Thanks. Well, I was gonna kind of build upon you mentioned the intricacies and everything. And would you say that you're designing stuff that is more modern, more I guess like the rectangles and the squareness, or do you kind of flow in with some more shaped pools and incorporating some more curvature in your designs?
I don't think we built a freeform in 2 years now.
No, 2 years ago was our last kidney-shaped freeform pool. A lot is very linear these days.
Yep.
With some of the yards here too, then you can maximize your space a lot more. There's a lot of small yards here, so maximizing swimming space and leisure space around it. A linear pool makes things a lot easier for that. We've also had a lot of auto covers coming through, so that also then a linear pool with an auto cover, if that's one of the things on the list for our clients' wants, then that narrows down the shape pretty easily. So it's definitely easier designing off a linear pool as well sometimes than instead of blending curves, and if there's elevations and things like that, linear is easier, but we do appreciate the challenge of a freeform as well. So
Right on. With the automated covers, do you guys do anything to reinforce the bracing, or is it kind of standard what you do with your bracing? Because the reason I'm asking is because I know of one particular story where this client had a waterfall that turned on while he had the cover on, and it ended up like basically ripping the walls out of the ground, almost like not out of the ground, but basically bent the walls quite a bit, which I think speaks to the strength of the automatic covers. But it's also like something that I don't know if you've maybe heard something like that or have come across it, but I'm just curious.
Well, I've definitely heard the horror stories. All of our automatic covers now are installed with pool automation, which prevents, say, a waterfall or a water slide to turn on with that cover off. So there is a fault switch in the automation that just prevents you from essentially draining your pool onto your cover.
Yeah. That is a good feature to have.
Yeah.
We thought so too.
Yeah, as far as bracing, then we do as much bracing as we possibly can with the galvanized and the deck supports and all that sort of stuff as well,
Yep.
all tied into the pool footing, the concrete pool footing, as well as then for winter covers, especially here in Manitoba, and I'm not sure if it's the same across Canada, depending on the climate and everything like that. But you can't use the auto cover as your winter cover here. So we have a safety cover that also is part of that package as a preventative measure. There have been some companies that have sold an auto cover as a winter cover as well. What happens is that weight of the snow load, as well as when it's melting, all that sort of stuff, if the water below is low enough, then that stretch will actually pull the track out, or like you said, potentially bend the walls as well. So
Wow. Yeah, I think in southwestern Ontario, that's how it's marketed, is both the like the solar cover and the winter cover. So that is interesting to hear.
mhm.
Yeah, my fear was always that, God forbid, you get a pinhole leak in your liner over the winter and your pool starts draining, because those auto covers are designed to sit on that top layer of ice.
Yep.
So as soon as that's gone, most of your pool is going to be gone too. Especially when we're in a typical winter where we're getting 4 or 5 feet of snow over the winter.
Yeah, that's a lot of snow. But, okay, so with, I guess, a lot of the conversations that I'm having, people are, they're finding it difficult to come across reliable laborers and help for the seasons. And is that something that do you guys have experienced as well, or are you finding maybe different approaches to it, or what's your take on that area?
It hasn't been the easiest finding reliable labor. Again, we kind of sell ourselves as more of a family company, so um, everything's. We try to be a very tight knit group and build a team that everyone's proud to work for through the company and together, and that camaraderie, all that sort of stuff. So with Riverside, then we have a small team still, as we're a smaller company, but a team of really good guys that we've now worked together for a long time and prior to this as well. So it's the same thing on the concrete side, building that team and the management and getting that team together to try and build that camaraderie so that we can all work and be happy together and have that family time. Everything costs more these days, so the wages have gone up and inflation's gone up and interest rates have gone up. So um, you have to spend a little more than you want to sometimes as a company to keep the right people around. But at the end of the day, the value has to be there too, right? So
Absolutely. So then, what motivates you guys to keep doing it? Because I mean, it can be very physically demanding, and not a lot of people might be able to handle the physicalities, like especially on a day in day out basis. So what's what's driving you?
I would have to say it's more of a mentality thing. You have to. You have to, what you're in for that day. And similar to Mike, I've never been an office guy. As company owners, we have to sit in the office still. Getting up early before you go out on site to do some of your office work. Then you're out in the sun all day and hanging out with your team and working on these projects, meeting clients. It's fun, in that sort of mentality. It depends how you look at it, right? So with the younger generation and that too, it's tough. You can't really instill that. You kind of have to have that attitude coming into it that you got to work hard and this is all part of the job. But Mike and I are there still shoveling and wheelbarrowing with our guys too. So doing it all as a team and you're getting paid to exercise is kind of a good
Yeah,
way to sell it and get a tan, right? So
absolutely. I used to work on a farm, and that was kind of the whole positive outlook that we would have on it was, you know, those long, hot, humid days where you're shoveling manure and, all that fun stuff. It's, well, you're getting paid to work out. So, You got to think of the positives. So
Here, I thought gravel was bad.
at least gravel doesn't smell, but I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so with the 2024 season coming upon us, is there anything new that you've seen in the industry over the last couple of years, or maybe some new products or something that you'd recommend checking out, or something that you've come across that maybe last season or the season prior that you've enjoyed and are expanding on?
Nothing really, nothing off the top of my head really that, we're kind of with our suppliers and everything too, then we don't have, we have access to all that sort of stuff, but there's nothing really crazy that jumps out at me right now.
There's been no game changers in the past
No,
while.
depends on the client and their wants, I guess, is what it is. So we're installing one of the largest residential slides that you possibly can get as one of our projects, which will be pretty new and exciting for us. We've both installed one of those before, but as far as we know, there's only one other one in Winnipeg.
Yep.
So we're installing one of those this year, which will be pretty exciting, and we're going to be cladding it with. They want it to look like a castle when it's all done, so
Oh,
we're going
nice.
to be cladding it and putting some stone on there and doing all kinds of cool stuff to it. So it'll be pretty exciting to bring that to life. That's for sure. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not really sure.
It's pretty much been status quo.
Yeah.
Is there anything maybe that you'd like to see?
Really love to do a vanishing edge. That's kind of with concrete and everything like that, and the background that both of us have in the industry, and with our suppliers, we've talked to about it already. It just takes the right client to want all the bells and whistles that are possible, right? So we have a very unique soil condition here in Manitoba that goes along with our climate. So some of the wants of pictures that are in California or Disney World and all that sort of stuff, we can do all that here. It's just a lot more. It's a lot more intricate with the engineering and geotechnical reports and all that sort of stuff. We can easily do it all here. It just costs more because we don't have the right base for it. So we need to make the right base for it, essentially. So then with that, the price goes up. So it's all got to be in budget and out in the open right from the start. So
One thing I've seen an uptick in is people not just getting the pool anymore, but getting, say, pool houses and just more of a backyard family feel to it, as opposed to just here's our pool, go swimming. Like Erik was saying before, it's we built a couple pool houses last year, got another couple this year, and outdoor kitchens are starting to get more popular as well. So not necessarily on the pool side, but the entire backyard side.
Yeah, I could see that. Do you guys work with any companies out there that, like in the GTA, there's a company called Magic Windows, which they have essentially a window wall that you can turn and slide and basically remove a wall if you want,
Right.
and kind of you could almost, I guess, expand on an area. Like there was a contractor when I was in college, we would go to his job sites and he was building his own house. And one of the things he had was one of these window walls on the main level with like a 3-tiered balcony, concrete poured balcony. And so in the summertime, he could open it up and he had a mesh net, like a bug net that went on the outside. So he essentially doubled the size of his kitchen. So I'm wondering, do you guys work with any companies like that out there that they're able to maybe open up spaces like that?
The options are available, even with our pool houses as well. When we do the open concept design with the open front, as opposed to having exterior doors or a sliding patio door or anything like that, we work with a company here that does motorized screens. So similar to your bug screens, so you can sit out there in the evening. You don't get bothered by the bugs as much. I have done some research into those window walls as well. It's kind of similar to the vanishing edge type idea. It takes the right clientele and the right budget to be able to do that. Again, with our soil conditions and everything like that, The trouble with any of those is everything needs to be extremely structural. Because those tracks, everything has to slide and it has to all be in unison. And if something moves and becomes out of level, then it doesn't work anymore. So again, it gets into the structural components that we have to worry about here. That is not quite as common as a lot of other places in Canada. So there's a few extra challenges here.
I gotcha. So would you say that there's not a lot of fiberglass pools then out there for that reason?
They have become increasingly more popular in the last, I'd say, about 6 years or so. So there's a decent amount of them going in. I have some stories about that too, but I won't get into it too much. I've seen some fairly significant movements in some of those fiberglass pools before. So we've kind of shied away from them for that reason. With the engineering side of things and the numbers side of things, they don't really tick all the boxes in our books. For us to want to be involved in that part of it. So
yeah, that makes sense. I know like some guys, that's all they do. They prefer it. And other guys like yourselves, they're like, we don't want anything to do with those because they can just, pop out of the ground and there you go. You got to go reset them. So
that's the trouble. You're always shooting for zero warranty, and zero warranty claims with your clients, and that keeps them happy and it keeps them swimming in your pool instead of having to do anything with it. So
yep.
Anything that kind of poses that risk potentially is kind of a big no-no in our books, right? So we want to build the strongest product we can and the longest lasting product we can for our clients, so they can just enjoy and something that we can all be proud of. So.
Yeah, right on. Is there any specific brands that you guys work with that question popped in my head when you mentioned warranties, and I was having this talk the other day, and so I'm curious, is there a specific brand that you guys prefer, or is there a couple brands that maybe you really like or that listeners should maybe check out?
So all our pool steel and liners come from Magna out in Pickering, Ontario. So Canadian company. All their liners are virgin Canadian vinyl. I've been using them for 16 years. I love them. Their product is great. Their warranty is great. On the equipment side of things, we've been Hayward guys through and through. So everything from pumps, filters, heaters, lights, automation. I'd say 95% of our equipment is all Hayward, if not 100%. Pool covers, we use CoverStar, another Canadian company. They're actually flying down this spring to come help us out and take a look at a couple things. We try to focus mostly on, as much as we can, Canadian products.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty cool. The Cover Stars, there's another company that has a similar name to it too, but one's more like a Latham brand, and one's I think like a Zodiac or Jandy brand. I can't remember what it's called now. It escapes me. But yeah, as we were talking about before, I think those automated covers are fascinating. Just the way that
and they're getting a lot more popular too.
Yeah, which is crazy because, as you said, you got to find the right clientele with the right budget and everything. And I mean, they're not a cheap feature to add, but simplicity, I guess. Like, what have you found the reasonings for that?
Probably safety is number one.
And who likes to unroll and roll up a solar blanket anyway?
True.
So, and especially in some of these wider open yards, half the time those solar blankets are flying off the pool. And like Erik touched on, it's a huge safety thing for families.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because, like you said before, your pitch kind of includes that whole safety, community aspect, family aspect. So that does make sense. Right on. So I guess we're starting to wind down here, but I have a couple more questions left for you. First, do you guys have any books, podcasts, YouTube channel recommendations? It doesn't have to be genre specific. It can be just something that you guys enjoy listening to or watching or anything like that.
I sent you the books by email, and then now I can't pull them into my brain to recommend them on camera. The two that I recently read, one was The Ideal Team Player.
Okay.
What was the other one? Atomic Habits I read recently as well. I enjoy reading and trying to be a better manager and all the sorts of things that just trying to be better every day, especially in business and dealing with employees and all that sort of stuff. Then it's tough not to overreact sometimes. So when things happen, so we reading some of those books about teamwork and all that sort of stuff really helps us.
Right.
In here, I read for leisure.
I know.
No, it's a good habit to have. I mean, you pick up so much from learning from other people's mistakes, right? And that The Ideal Player, that one's by Patrick Lencioni, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, it's coming back to me now. I remember this this conversation because
we're chatting about it a little bit there.
Yeah, he was always one of those authors that I knew of, and I really wanted to read his stuff, and I never did until last year finally. And I think I first heard him in an interview probably close to 10 years ago. But yeah, I know the what's the one that I read? Something like 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And so I'm curious with the ideal team player, is it written more in story form as well, or is it kind of more of like, yeah?
It is, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it makes it a very interesting and easy read that way too, and relatable, right? So
Absolutely. And Mike, what about yourself?
Well, like I said before, I read more for leisure. I'm on a kick right now of reading books that have made that have movie adaptations.
Okay, cool.
So just seeing the difference between the book and the movie is what I've been into right now. I hate to say it, I'm in the midst of the Harry Potter series right now. So
Totally fine.
And what else? As for YouTube, I know you said not brand specific, but Swim University is on the top of my list. They put out great content for swimming pools, very relatable to your average pool owner. They simplify pool ownership for people. I recommend it to all our customers. I think they're great guys. Still to this day, I watch it. I watch all their new content.
Yeah, I agree. They put out a lot of great stuff, and they've been around for probably a decade at least.
Yeah.
So no, that's really cool. Thanks for the recommendations. All right, and lastly, where can people connect with you? How can they reach you?
Through our website, riversidepools.ca, Instagram, Facebook, or just shoot us an email. Hey?
So not today. Apparently Instagram and Facebook are off the map today.
Oh. Anyways, most days then. Otherwise,
right on. All right. Well, I'm gonna put your website, your Instagram handles in the show notes, so people can grab them there. And is there anything else that maybe I should have? Is there a question I should have asked you guys, and maybe we didn't get to it?
Nope, I don't think so. Covered most of the stuff that you and I chatted about on the phone too. So
right on. And do you guys have any spots left for this season?
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go.
We got some room. So we do everything from the crazy custom ones to the smaller fit in the yard to whatever our client's looking for, we can help them out with it. So
do pool renovations, pump swaps, anything to do pool related, we'll do.
Right on, and they'll do it with a smile.
Unless it's fiberglass.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and donating your time here. So I really appreciate it, and we will definitely talk soon.
Sounds great.
good.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Steve.
All right, so there you have it. We got Erik and Mike from Riverside Pools out in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it's really cool to sit down with guys like that and get a perspective on how they had come together, how their family-oriented, behavior characteristics kind of influence their business practices as well, and customer service. I think it's amazing that they really value that customer service end. And when you're dealing with a lot of companies these days that they have their voice automated machines that all you want to do is talk to a real human being, and it's almost impossible to do. They value the customer, and they want to see those smiles on people's faces. So definitely reach out to them. Like I said, I'm going to put their contact information in the show notes, and they still have some room in their calendars this year. So if you're looking at getting your backyard remodeled or putting a swimming pool in, definitely reach out to them. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of the PromoMinds Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Leslie, and until next time, take care. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of PromoMinds Podcast. I'm Steve Leslie, and if you want help crafting your message or sharing your story, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help. Love coming up with ideas, and we can have a nice chat. So reach out to promominds@gmail.com and I'll respond. Take care.